Welcome back to the channel. Friday, obviously, is a video out there. There wasn't a video last Friday because I was at the Mali Mile, and that is as good as an excuse as any. This week, bringing it up to speed with the Mongrel that I've got behind here. What I do need to do, just to bring it up to the state that it is here, is to fabricate some mounts for the fuel tank. Obviously, as you can see here, we've got a Puch MV50 moped tank, scooter it is. That marries up to a custom made frame that originates a long time ago from a CB650 that is wrapped around a VFR750 engine with some Norton wheels. Just throw it in there because why not? This bike shouldn't exist. It's a Mongrel, hence the name. But what I do need to do today, as I said, is create some tabs, go through the frame itself, fabricate what is left to fabricate, grind everything down. So as you know, I am not the best welder, but I can melt two pieces of metal together. We can also grind them to make them smooth, ready to be painted. So that is what we need to do today's video. So let's do it. Well, that was a struggle. Getting all these in was an absolute struggle. Right, I'm not going to be doing that anytime soon. I did find an easier way in the end of just kind of putting both sides in at the same time. I know that sounds silly, but I was really struggling with trying to put the fronts in and then putting the rears in afterwards, but nothing was quite aligning. But what I figured out was if I put both in at the same time, it just meant that there was equal stretch on both sides. It makes sense, it makes absolute sense. I don't know why I just didn't do that before. But anyway, this is now in, sitting exactly where it needs to sit. That is the perfect distance between it. All of this bike was just a guessing game, I'll be honest. Carb sitting here is pretty perfect. There's one little bit, so there's a little bit here that just needs to be cut down. So I've started to cut that a little bit more, grind it down. I knew I needed to cut this top bit for it to fit. Now, in order for the engine mount to go through there, I need to lift this frame up. Now, as you can see, it's not passing that. Brilliant. All I need to do is just cut a few mil off that. Maybe a few mil off there. So what I'm going to do is take the frame off, go around it with my cutting disc, and then I can kind of say that fits then. Create these two brackets. This is where we're at. That bracket isn't on there. Now that is a little bit longer than what I want it to be. It's simply a box tube like this, bit of a groove in it to fit around the surrounded pipe, and it's just got a little bend down, just a little tab. I'm going to weld it along that seam there. Once I've welded it there, and the idea is I can put holes there, get the tank through. Now, I've just tried that there. Two things. I've just realised I need to actually do a hole first because it's easy for me to make a hole in this whilst it's off rather than before I place it. But that's been handy to put it there, because what I can do is put this tank there. And as with everything, I'm not measuring anything, to be honest with you. I know that I want the tank to sit fairly snug up there. And I can see that it's touching, but it's not equal. You can see it's poking up a bit. I'd probably say, it's about 5 mil too long, to be honest. So if I shorten it 5 mil, tack the size that I need to and drill it, that should be good. It's another update point. What I've got now is the tank for the first time set dead center. That's not going to move that way, but it will move that way, but that's fine, because what I have is one bracket there pointing down with a little hole. That's now drilled, and I just need to do the same there. So the other bracket is there on the jeans seat, which I might actually I was in two minds whether I was going to get rid of this or not, but I actually quite like that. You know what? Hell, it's staying. That jean seat is staying. But another bracket is going to go there, and then that will be set into place, and then I'll just figure out how to do the front brackets then. I mean, these, you know what, these are going to be fairly easy. I reckon what I might actually do is create some extendable tabs on here. Maybe, or maybe just some, we'll see. It might even be a square lock bracket. I'll figure it out. But that's my next thing, is to put this in here, grind it down, put it on. So all that is done. This frame is pretty much done, I think. It is. There's a few little sins here that I need to hide. I'm just going to go over it with a sanding disc right now. Just get all these little main lumps and bumps and rust and everything off. But then I think we're done with this on it. Oh, need to sort out the little weld there. But that's it. The tabs for the tank are also in there. Now I've had to offset them a little bit, only because that one, where that bolt originally went, if it lined up with that existing hole there, that would get into the way of the fuel petcock there, which I don't want it to do, so I've had to move that a little bit more. Yeah, doesn't look equal, but you know, once the tank's on it, no one's going to see that. So quick once over with a sanding disc, and then I can prime it. With that frame done, now I'm going to look at the swing arm. Swing arm is quite a beast. Do you know what, let's move up all these. Do you know, no, I need those discs. I need those discs. Yeah, the swing arm, quite a beastly swing arm, if I'm honest. Just going to tidy it up. There's a few little welds here, as you can see, that I just need to grind down, make smooth and all sorts. But that's what I need to do on this. Then that is done. But it is beastly. And there we have it. Next week's video, I will actually do the mongrel again and we'll get that painted so I can bring it up to speed with everything that we've got. And then the remaining tasks that's needed for it, which is sorting out all the bolts and everything just to put it together. Basically the front fork system and everything needs custom bolts and thrust bearings and all sorts, exhaust wrap, and then the wiring, fiddle around with the carbs, and that technically should be job done. Chain, sprocket, levers, yeah, actually there's quite a bit. But if you like what you see, subscribe, follow on Instagram as well, and we'll get this bike up and finished in the next 2 months. That is a promise. Until next week, see ya.